Oh, this is your old pal Nikki G. Welcome to Better Commander. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Kambal, and that ain't right. Can I get a yeehaw, brother? Alright, lore break. Time to check the lore on this guy. Kambal is a corrupt human who once oversaw the distribution of the Aether on Kaladesh. He exercised all the power necessary to maintain his dominion and his fortune. He was allied with Baral and Tezzeret when he kidnapped the best inventors from the Inventors Fair. What a dingus. Kambal was known for having one eye on everything and at least one finger in every pot. It's not the first time I've heard that. And he did not hesitate to exert whatever power was necessary to keep his grip on events in his domain, even if that meant transgressing the law he was supposed to enforce. Fast forward to Thunder Junction, this guy bopped his way down the Omen path, joining the Sterling Company and becoming the corrupt mayor of Prosperity. Now we need to do a quick drip check on this guy, and I will say that Kambal's drip is impeccable. He's looking a little obsessed with the color white, and I don't want to cast aspersions, dude, but I do remember P. Diddy had a lot of white parties too. Just saying, man. Now, of course, we're going to do a deep dive on this Orzhov monster of a commander, but first, gently caress the like and subscribe buttons, dude. And if you'd like, you can buy me a coffee at the link in the description. I love all you dudes. Everybody's so encouraging. It feels really good, man. A lot of compliments in the comments. I call the comments the compliments. I take your vibes, I transform them into deck techs. Now let's take a look at this guy. Kambal, Profiteering Mayor, 1 white and a black for a legendary creature, human advisor. It's a 2/4. Not a bad stat spread so far. Whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield under an opponent's control, for each of them, create a tap token that's a copy of it. This ability triggers only once each turn. Okay, so if your opponent creates 14 treasures off of old Gnawbone, so do you. If your opponent has a Smothering Tithe, you get the first treasure they make each turn. This alone is powerful and balanced by the fact that it only triggers once per turn. But hang on, don't go anywhere yet. Whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Sweet, fancy Urza, that's a powerful ability. But note, it says 1 or more. So if you make 4 tokens at once, you only get that trigger 1 time. But if you make 1 token 4 times, meaning 4 triggers, it triggers 4 times. So with that first ability, if multiple opponents make a token at the same time, you get all those tokens. Say you cast Awaken the Erstwhile, 3 black for a sorcery. Each player discards all the cards in their hand, then creates that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. So all those tokens come in at once as part of the resolution of the spell. So you make yours and copies of theirs. I believe, dude. I don't know, I'm not a rules lawyer, but this is the way it looks like it reads to me. Now, of course, right off the rip, you want to slap in Mirkwood Bats, 3 and a black for a creature bat. It's a 2/3 with flying. Whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. Gandalf has a real problem with these guys, plus there's the concern for rabies. You know, be cautious with bats, dude. If you find one in your house, you gotta contact the Department of Health. Don't go messing with it. You don't want rabies, alright? It's 100% fatal. And that's your public service announcement for Better Commander. And you might want to stick in Nadir's Nightblade, 2 and a black for a creature, elf warrior. It's a 1/3. Whenever a token you control leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. You're going to have tokens leaving through natural course of the game and with your sacrifice outlets. Now, of course, the first thing I thought of is ways to break symmetry with token doublers. Now, these are super pricey cards, alright? I usually don't dabble with such tomfoolery because we got to be realistic out there. We can't have a million commander decks when the cards are costing 40 and 50 bucks. But you know, we're going to list them here for completeness sake. Anointed Procession, of course, pretty sweet card, but it's $50. Mondrak's another one, $40 in and of itself. Sheesh, man, what the heck? It's almost as if we should encourage the use of proxies here, but I won't do that because Wizards send Pinkerton death squads around when people get out of line. Never forget that. But you know, we can mention Kaya Geist Hunter, 1 white and a black for a Planeswalker with a loyalty of 3. This -2 is pretty neat. Until end of turn, if 1 or more tokens will be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. So there's that. You know, it can be a solid little budget include for these types of decks, but can't be used indefinitely. And of course, you have old Triple Face here, Ojer Tak. He's the deepest foundation, or O'Hare, I guess. This is about $20. Nice little token tripler. Love his beautiful face, man. And what would you rather have, a dumb little 1/1 soldier or a hot flying angel with vigilance? You got Divine Visitation out there, 3 white enchantment. If 1 or more creature tokens will be created under your control, that many 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance are created instead. Yeah, Divine Visitation's pretty good, but you have the Idol of Oblivion over here, another great token enabler. 2 generic mana artifact, tap, draw a card, activate only if you created a token this turn. And last in our token enabler section, we have Thales, Reverent Medium, 3 white and a black for a legendary creature, human cleric, it's a 3/4. At the beginning of each end step, create X 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying, where X is the number of tokens you created this turn. So if you have a way to give your opponent's creatures every turn, Thales can really pump out a flying army. So let's talk about ways to give our opponents tokens every turn. Take a look at this guy, the Blood Vial Purveyor, 2 black for a creature vampire, it's 5/6 with flying and trample. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player creates a blood token, so that's an artifact. With 1, tap, discard a card, sacrifice this artifact, draw a card. When this guy attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each blood token defending player controls. Okay, so the downside with this is that the opponent gets a blood token, but so do you. This totally breaks that symmetry. You get this beefy flyer for 4 mana. Like this guy's drip too, man. I wouldn't be able to pull off a suit of armor that's just sleeves. I don't have the abs for that. And how about this guy, the Combat Calligrapher, 3 and a white for a creature, bird cleric, it's a 3/3 with flying. Inklings can attack you or planeswalkers you control. Whenever a player attacks one of your opponents, that attacking player creates a tapped 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying that's attacking that opponent. Well, isn't this an interesting bird? Who wouldn't want to see this guy making a nest outside my window, brother? So you get the Inkling too, that's the point. And check this thing out, bad old card, probably this is the only deck that it goes in, Infernal Genesis, 4 black for an enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player mills a card. Then they create X 1/1 black minion creature tokens where X is the milled card's mana value. Ron Spencer, this guy's awesome. He's turning a really disappointed looking bear into a monstrosity, and that's pretty neat, dude. Don't let this guy run the zoo, that's all I'm saying. This one's a little more realistic. Pure Reflection, 2 and a white for an enchantment. Whenever a player casts a creature spell, destroy all reflections. Then that player creates an XX white reflection creature token where X is the mana value of that spell. This guy is cuddling what appears to be a pit bull and playing with action figures. In any case, this can make some nasty things happen. So if you're making creatures every turn, man, you're going to trigger Kambal. Slaughter Specialist, of course, hits all opponents. Really neat card. I like that she keeps pictures of her grandpa on her wall, man. That's excellent family values. That's wife material, dude. And you're getting her and 3 tokens. Then we have this giant thing, the Tribute to Hirobi. 1 and a black for an enchantment saga. 1 and 2, each opponent creates a 1/1 black rat rogue creature token. 3, exile it, return it to the battlefield transformed under your control. So you got Echo of Death's Wail. This is a spirit 3/3, it has flying and haste. When it enters the battlefield, gain control all those rat tokens. So whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw a card. For 2 mana, if this sticks around, you're creating 6 rats, getting that sweet Echo. It's kind of a cool card in this deck. I don't know if you've ever seen this little idiot, but the Marching Duo Drone, 2 generic mana for an artifact creature construct, it's a 2/2. Whenever it attacks, each player creates a treasure token. So this looks like something from Beauty and the Beast, but this guy is the real beast himself. This guy attacks, you make 4 treasures. He'll probably die. Too bad, you're mana positive, who cares? Alliance of Arms, white for a sorcery. Join forces, starting with you, each player may pay any amount of mana. Each player creates X 1/1 white soldier creature tokens where X is the total amount of mana paid this way. Nobody's gonna pay into this, dude, but you gotta get your arms out, dude. Get that sleeveless tee ready for summer, buddy. Say you pump 3 mana into this. You make 3 plus the 9 your opponents are making. Haunted Angel, we're talking about a lot of bad old cards here. 2 and a white for a creature angel, it's a 3/3 with flying. When it dies, exile it, and each other player creates a 3/3 black angel creature token with flying. Pretty angel lady, she's facing the indiscretions that she did during her college years. You know, she has a new boyfriend, she's debating on whether or not to tell him about her sorority days. In any case, man, sack this thing, create 3 angels with Kambal out there. You do want some sacrifice outlets in this deck, and I'm going to tell you why later. Genesis does what Nintendo don't, and it's got this chamber here, 2 generic mana for an artifact. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield, if this thing's untapped, that creature's controller creates a 1/1 colorless mirror artifact creature token. Interesting. Your opponents have to play creatures or get them onto the battlefield some other way, but they will. Now we do have quite a few effects that put tokens onto the battlefield under our opponent's control, like the old Clack Bridge Troll, we got Hunted Bone Brute, we got Hunted Horror, we got Hunted Lamassu. The downside of these is that your opponents get the tokens, but with Kambal out there, you're mitigating that downside by giving yourself those tokens as well. Then we have this old card, Over Encumbered, from the brand new Fallout set. So this is going to create a bunch of tokens under your opponent's control. They have to pay 1 for each artifact they control if they want to attack. So it's a big tax effect for your artifact players out there. Not too bad. You get all those tokens. Then we have the old Ox Drover. Of course, he's a human peasant. I don't know why they have to insult him by calling him a peasant. But basically, this guy is giving your opponent's Ox creature tokens when he enters the battlefield or attacks. So then you're going to draw a card off of that, but guess what? You're going to get that token as well. And finally, you can say yes to the dress with the wedding ring, 2 white for an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, if it was cast, target opponent creates a token that's a copy of it. Whenever an opponent controls an artifact named wedding ring, draws a card during their turn, you draw a card. Whenever an opponent who controls an artifact named wedding ring gains life during their turn, you gain that much life. So you're going to get 2 rings, the original and the token copy. This thing is not legendary, you damn polygamist. Then of course we have Shadrix, the Silver Quill, 3 white and a black for a legendary creature, Elder Dragon. It's a 2/5, flying double strike. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may choose 2. Each mode must target a different player. Target player creates a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying, and then you create 1, alright? And then you draw a card, lose 1 life. That's it. You know, nice. You make a token, they make a token, you draw a card. Seems like a good deal, brother. Alright, last one I'm going to go over here. Benevolent Offering, 3 and a white for an instant. Choose an opponent. You and that player each create 3 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying, so you're going to make 6. Choose an opponent, you gain 2 life for each creature you control, and they gain 2 life for each creature they control. Amazing. With Kambal out there, you're making 6 little guys for 4 mana, gaining a bunch of life, and have lots of sack fodder. Now there's also quite a bit of interaction that puts tokens onto the battlefield, like our old buddy Generous Gift. Like Oprah says, you know, you get an elephant, I get an elephant. Kind of looks like Oprah a little bit. You have Afterlife here, that's a decent one. Make some spirits. Angelic Ascension, make another angel for yourself. Bovine Intervention, you 2 idiots make an ox, you know. It's supposed to be divine intervention, but the god is a cow. It's a weird religious reference, I don't know what it is. You have Contraband Livestock, basically a dice roll to see what tokens you make. There are about 10 of these, so pick your poison. Now a really interesting one is Saw in Half, 2 and a black for an instant, destroy target creature. If that creature dies this way, its controller creates 2 tokens that are copies of that creature, except their base power is half that creature's power and their base toughness is half that creature's toughness, round up each time. So if there's some powerful ETB effect, you're giving your opponents 2, but you're also getting 2 and triggering Kambal. So we definitely want to win at some point, and Kambal's second ability is the key to that. Whenever 1 or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So basically, if we can generate infinite instances of tokens entering the battlefield, we win. Simple as that. Pitiless Plunderer makes treasure tokens when creatures die, and he doesn't care if it's a non-token creature or not. So if you have Phyrexian Altar or Ashnod's Altar, you can freely sacrifice a reassembling skeleton, and that mana, you know, create a treasure token and then do it again. In these colors, creating infinite instances of tokens entering is doable with a wide variety of cards. You got your Pawns of Ulamog out there, you got your Sifter of Skulls. You can definitely go down that route if you want to. So what do you guys think of Kambal or Kambal or whatever the hell you want to call him? He's a neat looking commander. It's semi-familiar ground, but it lets you play cards that put tokens under opponent's control. Hopefully you've seen some cards here you didn't think about. You know, maybe you can give me your secret tech in the comments below. Hopefully you've seen the truth of Better Commander and have come to know that this is the best cult on the internet. I mean, Commander channel. Nikki G signing off.